All right, let's get started here. We're going to start, got FileMaker open here. And when you first open it, you'll get this Create tab. Otherwise, you can go to File, Create New. And I'm just going to start with a blank database. We're going to create a jobs database. Really simple. So jobs, save. Right there on my desktop. And here we go. And so the first thing that FileMaker is going to do is it's going to open up this manage database. And so what you want to do is it's already created a jobs table for us. So let's think about that as like a jobs spreadsheet. So maybe you have a spreadsheet, a Google Doc, something like that you're tracking your jobs in right now. Well, let's recreate that here. The only difference is that you're going to have some kind of maintenance fields that a database needs, and FileMaker is going to include those for you right here. So the first thing is a primary key, and one of the things I really like to do with primary keys, I'll get into more detail, but primary keys are how, if you think about, you have like a customer spreadsheet and a job spreadsheet, you use the primary keys to connect them. And so they're really common and crazy useful. And so I'm going to put 2 underscores at the beginning of this primary key. And what that's going to do is it's going to make it always show, if I sort this list alphabetically, the list of all the fields, or you can think of them as columns again in a spreadsheet. If I sort that list alphabetically, these are always going to, primary keys are always going to show up at the top if I put 2 underscores there. And so I'm going to change that. And I'm also calling it job primary key. Change that. And then the other thing I like to do, this is Lucy. This is her tail. Okay, go lay down. Go lay down. I'm going to add a ZZ at the beginning of these because I always want this information kind of sitting at the bottom. It's rare that I'll need to access this information, and so I don't want it cluttering the top of my list. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm just going to click on field name, and that's going to keep everything sorted. Anytime I pull up a list of all the fields, it's going to keep them sorted if I clicked on field name there. Otherwise, the default sort order is just the creation order, and I don't really want that. I want them to be sorted by alphabetical order as I need to find them. So a couple of other fields that we probably need to create real quick. We need a description field, description, excuse me. And so description of the job. So create, and that's a text field. We're going to need customer. Create. We're going to need quantity. And then we're going to make quantity a number. Okay, create that one. And then, you could add size, anything that you have on your spreadsheet that you're tracking, you're going to want to track here. And status. Status is an important one. So the status of the job. Okay, and that is text field. Okay, and create that. And so that is, we need artwork. This is going to be a container field because we're actually going to store the artwork in FileMaker. Sorry, I just want to keep that from bouncing. It's my laptop screen. So artwork. So let's do artwork front, create, artwork back, create. So if we had like a double-sided banner, a yard sign, something like that, or a double-sided business card, you have the front and back. You might want artwork like the pre-flight artwork, and then production artwork. You might want customer-provided artwork. You might want to create, save as many assets as you want within your database here. And so there's a lot that, everything I'm doing is very, very simplified. You can get really in-depth and in detail, but the way these are stored right now is it'll just store in the FileMaker file. So it's going to make that FileMaker file grow in size. And if you're working on a couple of jobs a day and you're not using massive files, probably just fine for that. Otherwise, you could go into options under the container here and go into storage and then store data externally. And then I like to use open storage because it's doesn't really matter if you access that, but then it would store them in a folder next to your deal here or your database. But I'm not going to deal with that right now. Save that for a future video. But we have front and back. Click OK. And FileMaker has created our first layout for us. And so this is the jobs layout. And you can see here, I could start using this immediately. I can create a new record. Actually, I believe it's already created a new record for me. So I can drag artwork in, and then customer. This is Jim's Bagels. I don't know. And then description. Jim wants 10 yard signs for his bagel business. They need to say free bagel with coffee. Sorry. Purchase. Right. Now I can't see that. So that's kind of a problem we'll have to fix. We need 10. And the status is this is a new job. That's our status. Could be order entry, could be anything, but very simple. And then I can create a new record, and then I can use this to go back and forth between the different records here. And I feel like we need a job number, right? So let's go up to File, Manage, Database. Just so like internally, I've got a couple of people working on the shop. What job number were you talking about? How do you look it up? Well, we can add a job number. So because job number is a fairly important field, I'm going to put in underscore there, and I call it job number. And we're going to go with number, and we're going to go with create. And then options here, I'm going to go, oh, see, this isn't, yeah, it is number. So I'm going to go serial number, and then let's make our job number 1001 as the first job number, increment by 1. So what that's going to do is the first record I create is going to be 1001, second record 1002, on and on and on. Okay. And so we have that. And FileMaker has actually automatically added that to my field here. And so I'm going to make this one 1000 because I had created it already. And then, oh, I better make this one 999. Now when I create a new record, 1001, because I said it, new record. Okay, so now I've created 6 jobs from 999, and they don't have to be in order. We can sort them with the job number. Okay, so that's great. Still not all that useful and not any better than a spreadsheet at this point. So I'm going to kind of go to where the magic happens, and I'm going to hit edit layout. And this is, if you're a printer, sign shop, anything like that, you are used to probably using CorelDRAW or Adobe Illustrator. And this is really, really similar to Adobe Illustrator. It's almost a vector design program in a way for setting up your layouts. You can do all kinds of cool stuff here. So one of the first things that I noticed was a problem was the description was not big enough. The field wasn't large enough. So I'm going to make this smaller now. You guys don't need to see me that much. So I'm going to make this description field really big. Okay. And then I'm going to take the artwork. I'm going to put it up here. Put this up here. You can see how it's kind of helping me keep things organized or keep things in line. Nice big artwork fields. Let's do this. Let's put this up here. Move this like so. And then maybe I'll put a little more detail down here. So we've got customer, quantity, and maybe status goes way up at the top with job number. So I'm going to put status like right here. I'm going to put job number right here roughly. And so this these are called parts here. And this top navigation, the way I'm going to set this up, this is just kind of getting in my way. So I'm going to go to part setup. I'm going to click on top navigation, and I'm going to delete it. And it wants to delete the objects in it because I think these objects are probably set in the top navigation. So I don't want to do that yet. I want to move these off. And I can actually set these like over here to get out of my way. Now I can go to part setup, top navigation, delete. And so I kind of got this blank canvas that I'm working with here. And actually, my default size here would fit on an iPad. So if you're using FileMaker Go, I have this set up for iPad landscape. But that's this orange border here. So if I actually take this and make the layout background larger, you can see that that's the maximum size that an iPad would be able to see. So I think that's pretty good to keep it within the range of being able to fit on an iPad that's useful in the shop later. And you don't really need to do anything. You load FileMaker Go on the iPad, you access your database, and boom, you've got a mobile app, I guess. Okay, so getting back to this, I just want to organize this a little better. So I've just this is a text box. All this is, I've double clicked in here, job number, just like using Adobe Illustrator. And these are fields, so these have data, but this is just a label or a text box. So I've got the job number, and then I want the status up here. Okay, and then I'm going to delete those. I don't need those. I think it's intuitive enough that this would be the front and this would be the back. But one of the things I can do is if I come over here, if you don't have these columns, you can use these to show and hide. One of the things I can do is I can go to artwork front here, and I can say placeholder text front. I can say drag front artwork here. Sorry, front artwork here. And I can say drag back artwork here. Okay. And then another thing I can do is I can go to the ruler here, and under tooltip, I can say front artwork. And I can do all kinds of stuff. I can make it, if you hover over, it'll tell you the size or the name of the file. We're not going to get into that right now, but back artwork. Okay. And then status. Status is kind of one of those things that I don't really want people just typing in a status, right? I want there to be, a dozen predefined statuses that we'll use within our company, or however many we need. And I want people to pick the status that the job is in. I don't want them to just be able to type in, well, I'm working on it or something like that. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to go to the data tab here, up here, and then we're going to click on control style. I'm going to click pop-up menu. Okay. And then get values from, I have no values here. So what I can do is I can hit edit, and that's create or edit value list. Another way to get the value lists is to go to manage value lists. Okay. Same window. And I'm going to click new. And then I'm going to call this value list job statuses. And this is really powerful. You can get value lists from other tables in your database, things like that. But it's also crazy simple if we just want to use custom values. So one of the statuses can be new job. And then I'm just going to put them one on a line here. New job. What would we have next? We'd have pre-flight or some sort of artwork processing step. We might have, well, before that, let's do waiting on artwork, waiting on payment. We have pre-flight, we have printing, we have cutting, we have finishing maybe, or assembly, or let's do installation, and follow-up. So, every good software will help encourage you to follow up with your customers. So something that we all need to do more. So I'm going to click OK. So I have that. It's real easy. I can double click on it. I can go in there, edit it, change it, do whatever I need to, but I have that. I'm going to click OK. And then when I grab those values, get values from job statuses, and then include arrow, you can see what that's doing there to hide and show the value list. And then allow entry of other values. I don't really want that. I want them to pick one of those statuses. And, when they when we're looking at the statuses of jobs, we should pick one of those statuses. Allow editing of the value list. That would allow you to add more. And then this doesn't affect us right now. So now if I go to exit, if we just are going to do a test, yes, I want to save. So you can see that status on new job. And now I've got this beautiful drop down where I can change the status of this job, right? And so if I have other jobs, I can set the status of these other jobs. Okay. And then, you know what? That's just made me think, if we create a new job, I mean, it's not a blank status, it's a new job. So what's the first thing you want to do? So I'm going to hit Control Shift D or go up to File, Manage Database. And I'm going to go into the status here and I'm going to say the default status, if we create a record, is going to be new job. So I just click on the data checkbox there and I say new job. And now every time I create a new record, it's not going to affect any of the old records, but every time I create a new record or a new job, the status is going to be new job automatically. So I'm going to click OK. And let's just test that real quick. So new record, there it is. Boom. It's just in there, ready to go. So it saves me some time. So I've got a job number automatically populating. I've got the new job automatically populating. We're in good shape here. So one of the other things that I think is maybe a little bit challenging is I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to find a job. So I've got all these jobs and I just have to kind of flip through them like this. So there's a couple of things that we should do. Okay. Number one, I'm going to make a list of all the jobs that we have in our system. So in order to do that, I'm going to click on this tool up here, and this is a portal tool. Okay. And I'm going to click up here and drag down. And if maybe you use QuickBooks, there's a lot of things where you've got kind of the list on the left side and you've got the information on the right. It's really common. So show records from, what a portal is a portal is going to show you a list of records from the table that you're on or a different table. And you have to go, right now, I don't have any other tables in my database. I just have the jobs table, but the current table that you're on is always going to be at the top of the list here. So I'm going to click that. And I like the use alternate row state and use active row state, and then 16 rows. It just kind of figures out that, yeah, there's about room for 16 rows. I always want to show the scroll bar, or just when scrolling. You can practice with what that means. I'm going to do always, so it's really clear. And then it's asking me, okay, what fields do we want? Well, I want the job number. That's how we're tracking everything in our database. Want that. I think I want the artwork front. I want like a little thumbnail preview of the artwork. So I'm going to put that on there. And then maybe you know what I'm missing? I'm missing like a due date. So I'm going to leave this off right now. Oh no, let's do status. And then I'm going to add a due date field. So I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to hit Control Shift D and go jobs, field name, due date, right? So I'm going to make this a date field. Okay. Create. There we go. Okay. Now, FileMaker's automatically put this in for me, so that's nice. And it'll actually drop this due date field down here for me, so I can just add this up here. But let's just pretend that I wanted to add a field that I didn't have before, just so I can show you guys how to do it. I just selected those and hit delete or backspace. That gets rid of them pretty nicely. Let's make this a little smaller. And if I shift drag, it just maintains its orientation, so it doesn't, or it keeps it in line. And then, so one of the things I can do is I can select these two fields, or I can select just the field, and I can hit Control and drag. And if I hold Shift, it'll stay in line. Drag it here, and it's copying it. Control drag copies the field. And so that gives me the ability to select due date to change the field. And create label here is going to populate a label there to the left, due date, boom. And so actually, let's make this a little bit bigger. Okay. And another way I could have done that is I could have gone to my fields tab over here, and I could have grabbed the due date and just drug it out here like that. I could have done that just the same. Okay. Whoops. What happened? There we go. I went all the way to the bottom. Okay, so I've got due date, control, scroll on the mouse, zooms in and out. So just like Illustrator. I want this due date though. Again, I don't, if I go in here, I could type in something and see, yeah, it's forcing me. It wants me to select a date, but what I'd really like to do is have a calendar. So I'll click revert here. I'm going to click this and I'm going to change the control style here under data again to drop down calendar and then include icon to show and hide calendar. And there it is. Okay. So there we go. Now I can pick that it's due on that day. Okay. And so we've got this. We've got our nice list of jobs here. We've got the statuses that each job is in. Great. Okay. So I need due date here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on this portal again, or I can go right click and go to portal setup. And I am going to actually make the number of rows 8 because I want to make kind of thicker rows so I can see more information about the jobs I'm looking at. So I'm going to drag this down like that, and you can see what that's doing here. And I'm going to move this around just a little bit. I'm going to take this front artwork. I'm going to open this up. I got the job number up here. I've got the status. Let's put the status down here. Make this a little bigger so there's plenty of room. See the full length of the status. And I'm actually going to take this due date field and I'm going to hit Control D for duplicate, right? And again, it's asking me if I want that. No, I'm just going to leave this. Not create a label and click OK. And it's got due date selected. So it's duplicating that field for me. I'm going to put this in here and close this up just a little bit. Maybe I need to make it a little bit, give myself a little bit of room. Okay. And the cool thing about FileMaker is I'm just, I move some stuff around, hit exit, save, and I get to look at it. I get to test it right away. So there we go. I've got my thumbnail. I've got the job number. I've got the status of that job, and I have a due date. Now, see, what's interesting is I can click over here and I can change this job number, or click in here and change the description. But over here, I can't edit these 3 fields that were created automatically by FileMaker for me, but I can edit this one. And that's kind of weird. So I'm going to hit edit. I'm going to show you what that is. So if I don't want these fields editable over here, right? I want you to click into the job, go into the job, and then edit it right here. So this field here is editable. And the way you deal with that is over here, browse mode, under data. Under data, field entry is what I'm going to deselect here, browse mode. And that makes it so that when we're just looking in browse mode, you can't, which that's the mode that you're in when you're actually interacting with the database most of the time. There's no entry into that field, right? And you can see this one's the same. So I have this one where browse mode field entry is not clicked, but this due date over here, if we actually want to change the due date, field entry is enabled. Okay. And so that's not really database security. That's just controlling when users or where you're editing information. And so over here, I'm scrolling up and down and I'm clicking on stuff, kind of exploring the jobs that we have to do in a day. I don't want to accidentally bump one of these fields and change it. But when you actually go into the job, then I want all these fields to be editable so we can set our schedule for the day. So let's take a look at this again. I'm going to save that and we can see our jobs. So these other jobs here that I've created a bunch of jobs that don't have any data. And so I'm actually going to go through and delete these. So delete record. And if these were real jobs, I wouldn't delete them. I want to save that data. If they were real jobs, I'd make a status that is some sort of status that I would ignore. Okay, so we've got this new job once again. And I'm just going to put some artwork. See, it's different artwork. I'm going to put that artwork in there for the front. And so you can see this one. Okay. So there we go. We've got our jobs table. So maybe, what should we do next? We have customer down here. So customer, I again, this is kind of one of those things where I don't really want somebody just typing in the name of the customer. So Joe customer and Jim's Bagels. I don't like that because then, what if the next guy comes along and types in Joe's customer, or he types it in and misses the space, or something like that? Then it's kind of hard to link all of the data together. So how do we make it so we actually pick a customer?